Hare Krishna. We continue reading from teachings of Queen Kunti. We are on prayer 8, which is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 27. Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivrita Guna Vrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Pataye Namaha. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists. So Kunti Devi is, these are these beautiful prayers by Kunti Devi and Srila Prabhupada's. We are going to hear from Srila Prabhupada now. A living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. Therefore, a living being cannot be, in the real sense of the term, a renouncer. A living being renounces something for gaining something more valuable. A student sacrifices his childish proclivities to gain better education. A servant gives up his job for a better job. Similarly, a devotee renounces the material world, not for nothing, but for something tangible in spiritual value. So, living entity, we really can't renounce. Why? Because when we are giving up something, we want to get something else in return for it. So in a true term, we can't be the actually called renounce. Why? Because we are just exchanging. If I'm as Prabhupada is saying, that I'm renouncing something to get something more value, because then I'm getting something, I am gaining something. Suppose I'm a student and I'm sacrificing my time, my childish energies. Why? To get some better education. So I'm renouncing some childish activities, lower activities, but what am I getting? I'm gaining knowledge, I'm gaining education. Or an example is servant is giving up the job, or devotee is renouncing the material world, but to get renounce the material, but to get what? The spiritual. So a living entity can't really renounce. Even if we say I'm renouncing the material world, why am I renouncing the material world? Why? Because I want the spiritual. That's why I'm renouncing. So then if I want the spiritual, or if I've gotten the spiritual, means I really truly can't renounce in the true sense of the word. Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and others gave up their worldly pomp and prosperity for the sake of the service of the Lord. They were big men in the worldly sense. The Goswamis were ministers in the government service of Bengal. So this we are speaking of Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. There are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and Srila Rupa Goswami is the leader of the Goswamis. Sanatan Goswami is his elder brother, and one of the other Goswamis' name is Raghunath Das Goswami. So all these 3 Goswamis, before they gave up the world, before they renounced the world, they were, in today's term, they would be called like billionaires. They were so rich. They were so rich. So the Goswamis were ministers in the government service of Bengal. So the Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they had a very, very high position. Government ministers, they were in Bengal under the Nawab Hussain Shah. And Srila Raghunath Goswami was the son of a big zamindar of his time. But they left everything to gain something superior to what they previously possessed. So they gave up the material things. They said, I don't want any more of this. This riches, this money, the rich house, all these things. I don't want, I give up, I renounce. But what did they give it up for? To get spiritual knowledge. They gave it up to get something more valuable than what they got or they had before. The devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. So someone might say, oh, so they become like poor, they don't have anything. You know, the Goswamis, they just had a small cloth to cover their body. They were living under a different tree every night. We can't imitate them artificially, you know, because their consciousness is totally spiritual. Can't artificially imitate them. But what we can do is appreciate. Try to appreciate, try to understand. Oh, they were so rich. They had everything, power, money. Raghunath Das Goswami, his wife was as beautiful, they say, as the demigoddesses in heaven. He was the only son, and they had so many people working under them, listening to them, but they gave it up. Why? To take shelter here, the secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. Secret treasure in the lotus feet of the Lord. There is a nice story about Srila Sanatan Goswami. He had a touchstone with him. This stone was left in a pile of refuse. A needy man took it, but later on wondered why the valuable stone was kept in such a neglected place. So this man, he went to Sanatan Goswami and said, can you give me something valuable? And Sanatan Goswami said, yeah, there's this Chintamani stone somewhere there, you can take it. Then the man starts thinking, if this is so valuable, why is it just lying like that? Why is it not protected? Because in money terms, it is really very, very valuable. So then he asked Sanatan Goswami for the most valuable thing. And then he was given the holy name of the Lord. Sanatan Goswami gave him the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Holy name, most valuable. You know, we get attached to the material things, but if we have Krishna, he is the owner of everything material. He's the owner of everything material. So for example, if one says that, oh, I want the kingdom, but I don't want the king. But if you say, oh, the king says, oh, you're my son, you know, automatically the kingdom becomes the son's, because he's the son of the king, right? Similarly, when we take shelter of the Lord, everything belongs to the Lord, everything. So there's nothing that does not belong to the Lord. So akinchana means one who has nothing to give materially. A factual devotee or Mahatma does not give anything material to anyone because he has already left all material assets. He can, however, deliver the supreme asset, namely the personality of Godhead, because he's the only property of a factual devotee. So a factual devotee, Prabhupada's choice of words, factual, a devotee in fact, a devotee not by just words or by a change of dress, but truly his consciousness, a Krishna conscious person. Or a Mahatma, one who is taken complete shelter of the Lord. Then why, what does he give? He does not give anything material to anyone. Nothing material. Why? Because a Mahatma knows whatever material is going to finish as soon as the body finishes. It's just temporary. But what he can give is the supreme asset. Supreme asset. And what's that? The Supreme Lord himself. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Why? Because he's the only property of a factual devotee. What does a devotee have? A true devotee. He has the Supreme Lord. And he can give the Supreme Lord to others. The touchstone of Sanatan Goswami, which was thrown in the rubbish, was not the property of the Goswami. Otherwise, it would not have been kept in such a place. So the Goswami understands that this stone does not belong to me. He's already on the liberated consciousness. He's not thinking it belongs to me and so I need to protect it. Somebody will take it away from me. No, he knows it belongs to the Supreme Lord. So this specific example is given for the neophyte devotees just to convince them that material hankerings and spiritual advancement go ill together. Spiritual, material hankerings. If we have too many material desires, too many material desires, and we want to advance spiritually, It doesn't go together, you know. We need to have a good material life, of course, because we are inside the material body. We are inside the body. So we need to have whatever is needed for the body. That's okay. But the intense material desires, and if we want to advance spiritually, it does not work, does not work, unless one is able to see everything as spiritual in relation with the Supreme Lord. One must always distinguish between spirit and matter. So because we are not yet on the liberated platform, we are not able to see that everything belongs to the Lord. Everything belongs to the Lord. Everything comes from him. But we are not able to see it. We are not able to see things as spiritual. We are able to see as matter, and we are able to see spirit. Well, not able to see the spirit, but we can realize that the living entity is spiritual. Everything else is matter. A spiritual master like Srila Sanatana Goswami, although personally able to see everything as spiritual, set this example for us only because we have no such spiritual vision. So we are not able to see everything as spiritual. We are not able to see everything in relation to the Lord. So we have to distinguish, oh, this is material, this is spiritual. Because practical, we have to act practically what as per our consciousness right now. Why? So that we can gradually raise our consciousness. The idea is to gradually raise our consciousness and become Krishna conscious. Doesn't matter what level we are at right now. Doesn't matter. Advancement of material vision or material civilization is a great stumbling block for spiritual advancement. Such material advancement entangles the living being in the bondage of a material body, followed by all sorts of material miseries. Such material advancement is called anartha, or things not wanted. Actually, this is so. In the present context of material advancement, one uses lipstick at a cost of 50 cents. And there are so many unwanted things, which are all products of the material conception of life. By diverting attention to so many unwanted things, human energy is spoiled without achievement of spiritual realization, the prime necessity of human life. So what we are trying to understand, what Prabhupada is saying, is that our energy, our time is so focused into material things that we do not have much time and energy left to understand spiritual matter, to understand the spiritual knowledge, to actually cultivate spiritual knowledge. We are not able to, we don't have the time or energy. Why? Because our whole consciousness is in material things. So the attempt to reach the moon is another example of spoiling energy, because even if the moon is reached, the problems of life will not be solved. The devotees of the Lord are called akinchanas because they have practically no material assets. So what Prabhupada is saying, okay, even if you go to the moon, very good, but still, have you actually solved the problem of the soul? The problem of the soul is he's still in the material body. And because the soul is in the material body, has to be subjected to birth, death, old age, disease, all the miseries of the body. So is that really advancement? This is what Prabhupada is trying to tell us. Not that we do not need to take care of the body. We are very much inside the body. So we need to take care of the body in as much as it's needed, maintain the body, but also take out some time to cultivate spiritual knowledge. Because that's who we are. We are spirit souls. We are not the body. We are inside the body. The devotees of the Lord are called akinchanas because they have practically no material assets. Such material assets are all products of the three modes of material nature. They foil spiritual energy, and thus, the less we possess such products of material nature, the more we have a good chance for spiritual progress. So the devotees, the akinchana, they don't have material as the Goswamis, they had nothing. They don't have they're just wearing a small cloth around their body. But what do they have? They have the Supreme Lord. Now, we can't artificially try to um, imitate the Goswamis. But what is the point being trying to said here is that don't think that we are the body. Try to cultivate the spiritual knowledge. Take out some time every day to hear and chant. Try to understand the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Chant the holy name. Instead of full time and energy being focused in material things, we are going to do the material things. We are inside the material body. We are going to do those things. But take out some time to cultivate spiritual knowledge. Is that okay? So we'll continue reading the purport tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening in and joining it. Kunti Maharani ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.